In this video, I'm going to set up a GitHub repository and then configure it to use Pages, and we'll take a look at how to browse to your files using Pages. So I've clicked Create New Repository. I'm going to select No Template, and I have the repository name as my course ID. I'll click Create Repository, and you can create a code space if you want to use the online IDE. So I'm just going to create a new file. We could create a new file right in GitHub, or you could upload an existing file. I'm just going to click Create New File. And we'll just create a simple HTML file. And I'll call this one lab1.html and commit the changes to update it in GitHub. We don't need to push since we created the file in the repository. Okay, so now in my repository, this IT2310, I have one file called lab1.html, and I'm going to create a second file. Actually, let me go back and copy the other one. And I'll call this one lab2. And commit the changes. Now, we need to configure the repository to use Pages. So I'm going to go to Settings in the top right hand corner, and then click on Pages. And we're going to pick the main branch. I didn't create a new branch. If you have created a new branch, you could pick that branch, and then click Save. And when you do this, it's going to set up Pages. It sometimes takes a few minutes to do that. So what you have to do is just kind of come back to this page to see. So now I've refreshed the page. It took about maybe 3 or 4 minutes. And when I came back to the page or refreshed it, now I see this link. Your site is live at, and it has this path. And you click visit site to go to the site. Now, when it did this, what it did is it created this link to your site. So this kind of like subdomain. So that's the name of my GitHub user, .github.io/IT2310. And if I click visit site, it's going to go to that site. But here's the thing. When you go to the site, the default file that loads is index.html. So here's the path to our site, and it's running. But in order to get to lab1.html, I actually need to type that into the path. So there's the file that I created. If you did a view source, you'd see the source code that we created. But I had to type in that file name. So something that you could do, if you want to make it a little bit easier, going from that root of the files, you could create an index file. So we could add a new file in here and call it index.html, and then you could link to each of your labs. So you could go like this, lab 1, lab 2, and so on. We don't have a 3 yet, but I'll put it in there just for future. And I'll put IT 2310 labs. Now, when you update the site there, back in Pages, you can come back into the back to your Pages URL and just click refresh. But it takes a couple minutes for commits to actually show up in your Pages site. So it's not going to show up right away. The lab1.html file is still there. The lab2 file is still there. But that index file takes a minute. Now it's there. So you can see it took maybe a minute or so. So anytime you make a change to Pages, it's going to take a minute to show up in Pages. So, one thing that might be better is develop on the client side, just develop it on your laptop. And then when you're all done with the lab, push it or upload it to GitHub and then look at it in Pages. Okay, so now I have a link to Lab 2, a link to Lab 1. So hopefully that helps. Remember, once you create your repository, you're going to go to Settings, and then Pages, and here's where you'll see the settings for your Pages site. And if you've made your site private, you can do that, but you have to change this visibility to make sure it's visible. One thing you do is add someone as a collaborator by going to collaborators and then typing in the username and adding them as a collaborator. Okay, all right, let me know if you have any questions about Pages. Thanks.